Welcome back to Homeschooling Mama. Boy, do I got something to tell y'all, to talk to you guys about today. We're going to talk about homeschooling college and what I'm going through with the kids. First of all, I just had the neighborhood kids come in the house, so I have a lot of kids in my home, and it's loud. On any given day, you can find 12 to 20 kids in my front yard or in my house at any time with my kids, and they're here now, and it's really loud. So if you hear a lot, or if there's some knocking on the door, I'm sorry. It's just because it's a lot going on right now. But I'm going to give you a homeschooling college update. I have had some frustrations. You guys already know I gave you one homeschooling update. It's a lot of a balance. It's requiring a lot of us, but I'm not really frustrated with that. I'm going to share with you some different styles of the teachers that we have and some of the things that you might encounter. But with that, you'll see and understand. I'm going to share with you my frustration. So you know that my girls, they're taking a class together online. They're taking federal government online, and then one is taking anthropology, and the other one is taking macroeconomics. And each of the teachers are different. All of the teachers are different. We have one teacher where, the, the syllabus in the beginning, you would think he's very strict. You would think that he's really on top of his stuff. But once that's just on the syllabus, once the classes have started, he's not very on top of it. He's not really, he doesn't really, they have a lot that they have to do, but he's not very much involved. And things that are on the syllabus, he's blowing them off. Don't worry about that, we're not going to do that. He's not really up on it. These teachers all have full-time teaching jobs. However, they are doing the online courses, and that's like an extra thing that they're doing. They're not full-time online teaching, and so you can kind of tell which teachers that the online courses is not so much the priority, in the sense that they're not as organized as they should be or on top of things as they should be, which is an irritation to me because I'm on top of things with my children, and I'm teaching my children to be on top of things because they're going to have different classes, more classes, harder classes at different times, and they're going to need to be on top of their education, on top of their scheduling, so that they can get the things done. I'm sorry. I'm hearing the kids. I'm making sure everything's okay. Um, to make sure that they're on top of the things that they need to get done for now and in the future, teaching them good life skills, teaching them skills that they need to be able to succeed, not only in college, but in life. And so that kind of gets a little irritating at times. Now, my anthropology teacher for my daughter, she is on top of her stuff. Quick feedback. She's all her dates on her syllabus correspond with everything that's on during the semester, during the class. She's if she says something's going to be open on a certain day for them, a module is going to be open, it is open. Her stuff is pristine. I like her. Don't care for a lot of the stuff that she's teaching, but I like those administrative skills that she has. Then we deal with the federal government, and they're both taking federal government together, and here is where I have an issue. She has a full docket of classes during the day on campus, and she has a full docket of classes that are online. And this is where it's a little irritating. A lot of her instructions are unclear, and I'm constantly having to tell the children to contact her, send her an email, ask for clarity. She contradicts herself a lot as far as her instructions. So I'm constantly asking the children, email her, find out where she really stands on it, and let's do what she says. Well, we've also had incidences where she's supposed to open up modules so that the kids can start on the stuff on Friday, because they have to have things turned in on Wednesday and prepare for their tests and turn in their papers. And we've had it where Friday wasn't there, Saturday wasn't there, Sunday wasn't there. So Monday I'm telling the kids this stuff is due Wednesday. We got a lot that we got to do to it. She needs to open this stuff up, see what's going on with her. And we get back from her, oh, didn't know I didn't open it up. Sorry about that. I had a busy weekend. I went to the festival and I did this and that and this and that. And then she opens it up and she doesn't change the due date. So these children have to read, 50 something pages, watch all these videos, do this research, and have everything due and turned in on Wednesday. Now that's kind of irritating. Now in all of my children classes, my children are the only teenagers that are doing these classes. These are online classes with adults, with families, with children. Some are pregnant, and you have people with full-time jobs trying to go to school, and you're giving them all of this load because you didn't do what you needed to do. So they're getting it late in the day on Monday, and it's all due on Wednesday. And there is no, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Let me give you an extra day on that. Let me give you some leniency on that. It doesn't matter. She doesn't admit her mistakes. She makes a lot of mistakes, and it put a lot of pressure on the kids, and she doesn't give them, or the students, and doesn't give them any extra time to accomplish the work. And that's a lot to put on somebody, to give them one day to get everything accomplished. I had my daughter send an email to her and say, hey, we're having this problem. It's a group project. Everybody's done what they needed to do, but our captain, who's supposed to turn it in, turned it in without telling us and letting us edit it like we're supposed to, like we do every single week. She said, how do you want me to go about handling this? Because she's already turned it in. I looked and saw what she turned in. We didn't get a chance to edit it. It's a lot of mistakes, and she didn't do quite what was asked. So the teacher says, well, try to reach out to her. Well, the only way they have to reach out to each other, you guys, is by email. Now, we don't know when these people are going to check their email or when they were going to respond. They only have to check into the classroom for this particular class, have to check in online 3 times a week. So we don't know when she's going to actually check back in, but we send out the email. Hey, can you do this? And we send a copy to the teacher to let her know. Can we look at this stuff again? This is, we're doing what the teacher suggested that we do. Well, the young lady that was a team captain never checked the stuff. She never made the changes on anything. And my daughter, who had in that class about a 97 or whatever, grade dropped because they did not score. She's been getting hundreds on everything except for her test. All the papers and everything else that's due, she's getting hundreds on everything, but on her test she's getting like a 97, 96, but usually she gets pretty, she's getting A's on everything. And so when they got this grade, which dropped my daughter's grade from a high 97 to a 91.7 something in the classroom, may not seem like a big deal. You got to remember, it's what you're sending your kids to school for may be different than what I'm sending my kids to school for. 91 may be okay, but they have a whole half a semester to go, and that doesn't give her a lot of room to have a bad day on another quiz, another test, or on a paper, or on the project that's due, right? And so I'm looking at that GPA, because the GPA is important to me because I'm going for academic scholarships. My children are going for academic scholarships, so it matters to us whether she gets an A or a B in the classroom. So I have my daughter text her back when they get the grades and say, hey, I asked you what to do about this. I brought this to your attention. I did what you said, and this is how this turned out, but yet you still docked me for something that I was on top of, and I did my part of the project. So the teacher comes back and says, well, as an employee in the real world, your bosses are going to put you in these type of situations, and you're going to be penalized for things that other people do, so you need to get used to this now. Well, this angers me. I'm really upset about it because my family is a business family. We are not an employee family. We hire people and we fire people, but we're business people. We're entrepreneurs. And my children have been raised up in that. They've even started their own businesses at young ages and make pretty good money for their ages for what they do. So that was a little frustrating to me because I'm not raising my children to be employee minded. I'm raising them to be leaders. I'm raising them for ownership. So she made a gross assumption that was far off and wrong in my eyes, right? And I don't need you trying to groom my daughter for something that we're not grooming her for and that she has not stated that she wants to do or be in life, okay? And so that kind of irritated me, but I'm trying to keep it calm. trying to keep it calm, right? And so we have her to text the lady back and say, hey, so what's up, right? And the lady responds back, the teacher, the instructor responds back and says, well, you probably should have handled it this way. You should have decided, who was going to edit, who was going to submit information, who was going to actually turn in the assignment. I'm going, that was not the instructions. So I have my daughter send her back and say, post her, cut and paste her instructions for the assignment and send it back to her. And ask her, are you now saying that the assignment has changed and how we have gone about doing this every single week has been the same for the first couple months of school? Are you saying now that the instructions you've been giving us for every assignment every week that have been the same have now changed? You want us now to, the team captain isn't who you say the team captain is. The team captain is who we pick it's supposed to be. I thought everybody was supposed to put in commentary, and that we're supposed to comment on each other's commentary, and then we edit what's going to be put in after the captain puts it all together, and then she submits it. And the teacher says, well, those instructions I gave you were just suggestions. I'm livid, you guys, because I'm thinking nowhere on here has it been suggestions. It's been made very clear, and it's been repetitive every week. And we just sent you what you said, and now you're saying what you've been instructing everybody is just suggestions. So I have my daughter send her something back and say something back and told her, well, look, I did what you told me to do. It didn't work out that way. I can't make somebody check their emails. How do you expect for me to handle this in the future? So she sends my daughter an app and says, you all need to use this app so that whenever you need to communicate, it'll ding on your cell phones, and so you can get the attention of people when they're not on their jobs. Now I'm really angry because she's making a lot of assumptions, and she's wrong on her assumptions. She's assuming that my 15-year-old has a cell phone and she doesn't. So she's making a lot of assumptions. She's not really communicating well with it, and she's unclear. And so I have my other daughter. This is one daughter who's going through with it, but my other daughter in the class is going through some other things with the same teacher. So there's a big project that's due. They have a big research paper that's due on April 2nd. Today is, March 24th. And this paper is due on April 2nd. So all semester long, I'm looking. Has the information been released? Do we have any instructions? What is this project we have to get done? No instructions. So I tell my daughter, you know what? We're getting ready to go on spring break. Before we go on spring break, get a hold of your teacher. Let her know that, she needs to release this information because we're getting close to April 2nd and we need to start working on whatever this is that she wants us to work on. Do we hear anything? No. Do we get a response during spring break? No. We get a response a week after spring break, and here is the response. It goes a little something like this. Oh, that was last year's syllabus. October 2nd doesn't apply to you. You have another date that it's due. I will release the information at the time that's it's appropriate, but I think I'll go back and I'll switch that information up in your class online. And don't worry about April 2nd. It's going to be okay. And now I'm really frustrated because I'm dealing with my daughter on this end, and now this daughter is going through, and the teacher is giving us an old syllabus and old instructions. And I'm thinking, no, that's not the case at this point. By the way that she's been handling things, no, you're not on top of your job. You didn't do what you needed to do. Everything else was fine on it. But all the other things that you're doing on that syllabus, I found that it's just that, she's unorganized. She's not on her job. And instead of coming out and saying, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, she throws the responsibility of her inefficiencies back on the students. And that is irritating the mess out of me. So we're going to deal with that. We're going to handle that. But I wanted to share that with you because, number one, it's frustrating me. But number two, I want you to know the different types of teachers that are out there, and that if you choose to do to not have your children go to the college campus, but to take online courses through your local college campus, that there's going to be different type of teachers. All online courses at the same school are not going to be the same, and there will be some frustrations with it. In each of their classes, they have group projects that they're working on, group assignments, some that are due weekly, some are just group projects that have to be turned in at the end, and everyone has assignments. Well, part of the problem with that is my children are full-time students. Everyone else is adults. They have other things that they got going on. So they may be getting caught up with life and parenting and working and traveling and all these other things. So they may not check in, or they might not do their assignment for the week. But my children are on their stuff. They're getting their stuff turned in because I'm making sure that happens. Well, what ends up happening is, so that my children can still get a good grade, they end up doing everybody's work because they're being docked if other people on the team does not do their work. Also, what may happen is you may have someone who's the lead of a team, or who's the team captain that week, who's supposed to be doing something, and then find out they dropped the class. You don't know they dropped the class. That information doesn't come to you, so you're like, hello, hello, is anybody there? And you don't know that. So in the anthropology class, my daughter has a big ethnography that they've been working on, and they've all have different assignments on it and doing a lot of things. I'll do a video on that ethnography for you all probably in another week, because I have some videos from the things that they're doing that I want to show you. And I got one more, we have one more event we have to go to do that. So I'll keep your heads up. I'll show you some of the things that they're doing in anthropology and their ethnography that they're working on. But the person who is a big part of this ethnography dropped the class several weeks ago, and we did not know. And so now we're at the point where this past weekend they had a lot to turn in as the first phase and the first stage of their ethnography, and the other person has never submitted anything. They have not been able to get a hold of them, which caused an issue, right? And not so much so in the sense that this teacher was a little bit understanding and said, it's okay, turn in what you have and we'll work it out. But because my daughter, I made her do extra just in case, to always have some backup and to make sure her research was thorough, so she has enough that she can turn in to cover for that which is missing and lacking for the other person. But you need to just kind of be mindful when you're dealing with these college courses. This is one of the reasons why I feel it's really important to homeschool college. Even if your children are going to the college campus, you still need to kind of have a homeschool mindset when they're teenagers. When they graduate and they do, everybody have their own ideas about how to do that, but it's important for us as parents to still be a part of their homeschool education, because like that federal government teacher, she's doing a lot of things because she's dealing with busy adults who don't have time to question things, and she's dealing with a lot of kids as far as on the campus who parents aren't involved, and so she can do things that can affect their grade, affect them in a lot of gross ways, because she's dealing with kids and kids are looking at an adult and things are not being handled correctly. I feel it's really important as parents, you know, for us to be involved in our kids' college, especially if you're sending them at 15 and 16 like I am, to really oversee things, to make sure that things are going the right way, because the communication on there and some of the topics that they're discussing, it's not really appropriate for a lot of 15 and 16-year-olds. And maybe you're really loose with your kids and that's okay for you, but it's not okay for me. And sometimes some of the people on there, even though they're adults and they're on a team with your kid, they may try to strong arm your children because they know what they're dealing with, children who are still trying to be respectful and be mindful that they're talking to an adult. So as a parent, we really kind of need to oversee that. And some of these agendas that they're pushing may not be what you believe, and so you kind of want to watch out for that. Now, how do I oversee it? I guess I'll do a video on that, but I'll tell you a little bit more about it right now. Basically, I don't do the assignments for my kids, but I watch and I look at what they do. I'm reading what they're reading. I'm seeing all the things that they're seeing, and before they turn in anything, I look at it. I grade it on my own, make them make the corrections, so what they're turning in at a good level. So the grades they're getting, they're earning on their own, but I'm still overseeing it. I'm not just throwing my kids out there. But I just want to share all of that with you. Hope something in there was helpful for you. But I tell you, thank you very much, because I feel so much better being able to get it out, the frustrations that that I have been dealing with. So hope you have a great homeschool journey. Keep your eyes open. I did a transcript video for you guys months ago and totally forgot all about it, and it needs to be edited. So I'm going to try to make some time this week, if possible, to edit that for you guys, and if I haven't even looked at my clips to see how I did, so if I didn't do a good job or something I need to re-say or restate, I might have to redo it. But keep your eyes open, keep your heads up, because a college transcript, creating high school transcripts for college, I will have that coming out here within the next week or two. Okay, so until next time, bye. Thanks for watching.